Collin, we were just talking about this. Like, so Mirror's Edge is out first week of June.
Yes.
June 7th. So, like, this past week, if you remember, the first Mirror's Edge had a song. It was just called "Still Alive."
Yep.
I don't remember who did it.
Not to be confused with the Portal "Still Alive."
Not to be confused with the Portal song, of course. Yes, also named "Still Alive."
Yes.
This one, I don't remember who did that song, but
yeah,
it was like the theme to Mirror's Edge. It was really, really good. So Mirror's Edge Catalyst is coming out in less than a month now, and they put out. There's a new song by Churches. It was like one of my favorite bands. You said you like them.
Yeah, I like them.
So they apparently they did this. They're doing the theme song for this game. They put it out like yesterday, and it is so good.
It's very good. We were just kind of talking about this like too. Like I wasn't like really feeling the hype for Mirror's Edge. Like when it was shown off,
like it's out in less than a month.
Yes,
and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, that game's coming out soon. Okay.
I feel like ever since this game was announced, my hype level had just kind of diminished over time. Like, it was announced, it was at E3 2013, it had that teaser trailer.
It's been a little while ago, and, like, that first, like, that first video was like, oh, dude, yeah. Mirror's Edge.
Then, like, the next year we got, like, concept footage. Then the next year, which was last E3.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was the dumb one. The last E3, like, it was, like, officially named Mirror's Edge Catalyst. We had a February release date. I was all in. I even, like, pre-ordered the collector's edition, stuff like that. Then it got pushed back to...
I keep forgetting how long it's been.
Yeah, it got pushed back to May, and then it got pushed back to another 2 weeks.
And then, like, just a week or two ago, it's been pushed back to first week of June.
Yeah.
So, we were just talking about it, and we're like, well, let's stop and, start recording. Yep. Like, you and I both haven't really been... I mean, we're like, yeah, it's coming out, kind of excited, whatever. And, like, maybe this is the wrong reason to be excited for it, but that song hits yesterday. I've listened to that song so many times, and now I'm like, oh... Dude, Mirror's Edge is coming out soon.
Absolutely.
Cannot wait. Because like I started thinking back about the first game, and I was like, oh yeah, right? Like this is great. Like that's a great game. Like this one is looking great.
Yep.
It's got the open world stuff. Like it's one of those weird things that happens a lot to me with I'm so sorry for bringing this up, but it happens a lot with the Souls games where like I'm aware of their existence. And more often than not, it's not until like the week or so ahead of time, or it's not until I'm actually playing the game where it's like, oh yeah, this game is amazing. And so I'm kind of feeling the same thing about Mirror's Edge. Also, although now the hype is picking up, my hype index is rising.
Yes,
as we speak.
I would say, I was just thinking about it, my hype index. I would probably say before I heard the song was like maybe like a 65. Like it was still good. But it was like, it was still
like 70-ish,
it was still diminishing, but now I'd say I'm probably up to like an 85, 89 area. I'm just like really excited for this game now, because I wasn't like a huge fan, but I really did enjoy the first Mirror's Edge. Like I really enjoyed like just like even that totalitarianism just world that they created, like with the skyscrapers and running across rooftops,
and it's just like such a clean
it's
so clean.
It was
just like the best way to say it.
It was very like blue, very white. You're not running through this like destroyed cyberpunk rainy city or anything like that. It looked,
and I think they've
great.
said there was no guns in this game, so like that was always the thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, and like most people weren't, I don't think. And it's just got a flow to it. I know it's not like a PlayStation Network game, but dude, I'm and it's always like cool, because usually you always have, I mean, I guess this year like June is actually getting kind of packed, but you always have like one or two games around E3 time, and so like and it's always good just to like dig into one of those like the week before E3 or like just after E3 ends. So excitement. Welcome to Collin and Curtis in the Morning.
Yes.
Episode
38?
38.
Is it 38? Okay,
38 sounds right. Yep. Yeah, we're going to go with that one. It is May 15th. We'll say 15th.
Okay.
2016. Collin, we're a month out from E3. But before we get to that, we're still in the period of the year where there's some news, but there's not a ton. Nothing like huge, like as far as like discussion worthy topics. But we're going to get through a little bit of news here.
Yep.
As usual, we try to focus mostly on the PlayStation Network side of things. So any of the big like AAA stuff we're going to try to steer away from, except unless it's Mirror's Edge, because we're feeling the Mirror's Edge hype.
So it's hard to get away from that. Or a Toys to Life game that had its life cut short, sadly.
Well, Colin, that transcends everything.
Yes.
But we'll get to that.
Okay.
So My Night Job is coming out on PS4 May 17th. It's coming out next week. Colin, this game reminds me of like Night at the Museum, except it's in a mansion.
Okay.
So it's a dude working night job in a mansion, I guess janitor kind of thing, and then like it gets invaded by monsters and zombies, and I guess it's very inspired by like 80s movies and horror, like 80s horror and that kind of thing. Yeah. You and I both looked at the screenshots for this game and were like, oh yeah, we see like some Scott Pilgrim inspiration, mostly because it's not the same art style. It's a little bit different. Yeah. And I would say Scott Pilgrim probably looked a bit nicer. But it definitely, you can kind of see that vibe.
Yeah.
The kind of like very arcadey, video gamey vibe. Very 80s influence and stuff. So that looks interesting. I think that could be kind of cool. There's like a cool thing where they are like, hey, trophies matter in this game. So there's a trophy room for the trophies you're unlocking. Mm-hmm. And they we'll call them modifiers.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to say it.
So it's like 50% extra health, like invincibility for a certain amount of time. Things like that. So that's kind of cool. I always like it and appreciate it when trophies actually like give you something. Mm-hmm. Not to steer too far off the path, and this is all I'll say about it because I don't want to bring it up until you finish this game. But I really, really appreciate that Uncharted 4 has like unlockable things.
Yeah.
In the vein of like like the old like Ratchet. I mean, I guess the recent Ratchet and Clank probably had it too.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it has a little bit of that.
I really miss games having that, and so I was really appreciative of that game having it, even though I only plan on playing through Uncharted 4 once. It was really cool to see nonetheless. Mm-hmm. Four-Sided Fantasy is coming to PS4 this summer. So we talked about this briefly before recording. I guess you posted an article about this like last year.
Yeah, over a year
when
ago.
It was announced for PS4, PS3, and Vita. Now it's only coming to PS4.
Yep.
This is a puzzle game with an interesting like a mechanic that is different, I guess. What do you do in this game? What's the thing? What's the cool little like thing about this?
It's very the one thing that they mentioned in the blog post is talking about like Pac-Man, how you can like screen wrap, and basically kind of what they mean by that is you can in Pac-Man you go to the left side of the screen and then your character will then appear on the right side of the screen. So I think this game is doing a lot of that. So I think like from one of the photos, from the screenshots, it looks like your character can walk all the way to the left and then maybe be on the right side of the screen, but then like go back to the right, but then be on like a lower level on the left side of the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's little kind of like puzzle mechanics, like that. I do believe.
So it's kind of changing, sort of like altering perspective and like, or viewing things differently and then wrapping around to solve puzzles in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you were just locked to the confines of the four sides of a screen.
Yep.
Hence the name. Also, they're like the post on the blog is like, yeah, we're doing things, we're like including these filmic transitions we've never seen in video games. And then they like mentioned Spring Breakers. And we're like, yeah, we got like crossfades and jump cuts. And I don't really know how that's gonna play out in the game, but I thought that was interesting that there was a focus in on that. I guess it could be cool. I don't know. Like you have to see it in action, I guess. Mm-hmm. You excited for this? This is in the summer?
Yeah.
Sometime this summer?
I don't know. I think it's worth checking out. I'm not
okay.
It's not entirely grabbing me, but I would say if you probably put a controller in my hands, I'd probably enjoy playing it.
It reminds me somewhat, and it's not it's a very different kind of mechanic. But it reminds me a little bit of Where Is My Heart?
Oh,
did you ever play that?
That's a minis game callback, isn't it?
Yeah,
I never played it.
That's a callback.
Never played it.
Love that game. Where Is My Heart is wonderful, and if you have never played it, you should. You can probably get it for super cheap. It's like a PlayStation Mini, so I think it's playable on PS3, PSP, and Vita. I think. I reviewed it way back. Oh, okay. Love that game, but it kind of reminds me of that, where it's kind of this puzzle game where you have to view things in a different perspective. And it was really cool. It was really, really cool. Nuclear Golf is coming to PS4 and Vita this summer. Oh boy. Okay. So I don't want to be too harsh on this game, I think you and I can both agree that the art style here is just not for us.
Yeah,
it's got a. You compared it to like an Adult Swim show.
Yeah, there's like this Adult Swim show called Squidbillies. That's like they live in like a dump yard, and it just like everything's like trashy, and it's just like, oh, and that's like what this game looks like to me, and like, it doesn't look visually appealing at all to me.
Okay, yeah, so it does not appeal to me visually at all, but I don't want to be like, yeah, this just looks terrible, because like.
We haven't played it.
Yeah, we haven't played it. Also, like, that art style, I think is going for a very specific, I don't know. It's, I think people will probably like that. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It's just, to me, like, I look at it, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I kind of get where they're going for. So it's like nuclear post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
If I can talk today. Right. You're playing golf, and then there's like boss battles. There's a mechanic where you have to like do it in a time limit, or else you'll get radiation poisoning or something. So there's like some interesting stuff going on there. You can level up your balls.
I was waiting for you to say that.
There's RPG mechanics. Fantastic. Do you remember like I think it was like 2007? There was like that year or 2 or 3 where like every single game, one of the bullet points was, we've got RPG. What was it? It was like it wasn't RPG mechanics. It was like,
not like,
because it was like BioShock came out and there was like a bunch of games. There was like, we've got RPG mechanics in the game, or something, and like every single game like had like this weird RPG influence.
Yeah.
And in an era where like RPGs were not doing so hot.
Yeah.
I guess like other than Western RPGs, but yeah, I don't know, like. It kind of reminds me of when they put that Worms Crazy Golf out a few years back, because it's also like a 2D side-scrolling golf game. Yeah. Which, if you never played, Worms Crazy Golf, legitimately great. It's actually like a really great game. Yeah. I remember reviewing it and really liking it. Nuclear Golf, we'll see. It's coming to PS4 and Vita this summer. You and I don't seem all that.
This makes me wonder.
Hyped up on it.
This makes me wonder, Curtis, when. Is the Owl City like sponsored, I don't know, new Hot Shots Golf coming out? Like when is that? Is that supposed to be this year?
I totally forgot about Hot Shots Golf.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that TGS had the Owl City in that trailer.
I forgot. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Know, just side note.
I hope that's this year. That I'm really excited. I want a new Hot Shots Golf. Yep. It's like the only golf game you'll ever hear me say anything like that about. It's like, I want a new one of those. Yeah. Hot Shots Golf is great. Yeah, I don't know. Like I hope that's this year. Yeah. It's weird. Hopefully that just pops up again at some point. Yeah. There's actually been a lot of like, maybe we can dedicate an episode to it. There's been a lot of like, we'll call them missing in action Sony first party PSN games. Yeah. Like Watam, we haven't heard anything about in a while. I'm assuming that'll pop up at E3. Yep. There are What Remains of Edith Finch. We haven't heard anything about in a while.
What was the one?
That'll probably also be at E3 or Gamescom.
The Tarsier game.
Hunger?
Hunger, yeah. We haven't heard.
Dude, don't get me started on Hunger.
We haven't heard anything about that.
That's like 99 hype index.
We've talked about Rhyme. Like, we know things stuff going
on
with that.
We know what's
going on there.
But yeah, let's take an episode coming up, because it's still before E3 time, so there's not a lot of stuff going on. We'll have some big announcements, I'm sure, but it'll probably mostly be AAA stuff. So I think on the PSN kind of digital side, there probably won't be a lot. So maybe a couple weeks from now, we'll dedicate an episode to like the missing in action stuff.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And see if we can figure out what's going on. Because I assume like Watam and Edith Finch will probably show up at E3 or something.
Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah.
And those games, Watam especially, will be a game that just pops up when it's about to come out.
So I gotta just say this one, because I don't.
Okay.
Raise the Dead, is that coming out still?
Oh,
is that still a thing?
I think
Okay, we can save that for the podcast.
Like another game I'm really excited about. But like, If you remember, that was before PS4 came launched.
That was one of the E3.
Stage.
Yep, that was one of the E3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Along with like Outlast and
Oddworld.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's probably the last one of those games that hasn't come out.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah.
Because like Galaxy was on there, and yep. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Minecraft Story Mode Episode 6 is coming out this June, next month. And then Episodes 7 and 8 are sometime this summer. So like, it was a really weird thing where they had 5 episodes planned. They did all 5 of those, and they decided to do 3 more.
Yes.
So you finished Episode 5.
Yes.
I think we've talked about this briefly, but I think we did before you finished Episode 5.
Yeah.
Does 5 does 5 end, or is...
This is basically how I almost equate this to... the best way I can almost describe this is it feels like Minecraft Story Mode Episodes 1 through 4 is Season 1, and it's going to be 5 through 8 is like Season 2. Because 1 through 4...
Oh, weird.
1
so
through
wait.
4...
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it ends, like... Episode 4 pretty much ends like all the points that were brought up in 1 through 4 or whatever. Like it ends like the problems that were problems in 1, 2, and 3. Episode 4 just wraps all of that up. And so that I was wondering like how were they going to do this with episode 5, because like there's the storyline is like
the main problem's
been solved. Like where are they going to go with this? And then they announced 7, 8, 9. Or sorry, not 7, 8, 9.
So 5 is like
6, 7, 8.
Does 5 like introduce a new conflict or something?
Yes. So it's almost it's almost like to me is what it feels like is that when you bought your $20, $25 Minecraft Story Mode season, it almost felt like that, hey, we're giving you a complete story, but then we're also giving you one extra episode that's almost like a teaser for the rest. And it's like, do you want to buy the rest? You want to hear the rest of the story? Well, you got to go buy 6, 7, and 8.
So I wonder, that might be more likely. I wonder if there was a plan to wrap it up in 5, and then at some point it was just made more sense to wrap it up in 4.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, we sold people 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's.
So I wonder,
like.
That's strange.
I'm not trying to. It's like they were off like definitely complete games, but it's like the one that came to mind is like, imagine you playing Halo 2, and they were like, okay, we're gonna finish the fight in Halo 2, and then they end.
What a game you chose.
And then they end on the Halo 2 ending, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this other story that's coming on Halo 3, and you gotta buy that too.
It's weird you called it an ending.
Yeah, I know, right? So like that's what I feel like. It's like, because when you finish episode 5, like that doesn't feel like a complete story. Like that feels like it's just feels like just a teaser that like, yeah, well, you know, if you want to hear the rest of it, go buy 6, 7, and 8.
Mm-hmm. We talked earlier. It didn't sound like you were all that jazzed about 6, 7, or 8.
I wouldn't mind playing them, but I don't necessarily know that
you don't know if you're gonna pick them up.
Yeah, I don't.
Does 5, like, at least like the story that starts in 5, does it seem interesting? Or
I think I would say that what started in episode 5, I think I wrote this in my impressions, that I am more intrigued by what happened in episode 5 rather than what happened in 4 episodes of the rest of them. Like I feel like more.
That's at least
I feel like more things happened and more interesting things happened in 1 episode than in the entire rest of the season.
See, that's the trap. That's
I know.
how they get you.
That's what I'm feeling. So.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Man, how weird.
Yeah.
When do you think we'll hear about the Batman game?
Did they say that was supposed to start in 2016? Like I didn't know if it was gonna be this weird thing that like episode.
I saw
1...
someone from Telltale tweeting recently about Batman.
Okay.
And being like, we're starting to see things come together.
Because Walking Dead season 3 is supposed to be
also this year.
Yeah, starting this year too.
I wouldn't be surprised if both of those, similar to Borderlands and Game of Thrones, start.
Yep. Like in
like
December or something like that.
In November, December or something. Yep.
Yep.
That's my guess is at least 1 episode of Batman's out this year.
Yeah, that's probably what I'd say.
If I had to guess.
Then we gotta wait like 2 months for the next episode.
And then we wait like 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So that leaves us with a bit of a downer.
Take it away.
Maybe we should have started this, like, put this out in like the middle part of the show, but
it's all right.
Here we go. man, my childhood was dealt like a death blow.
I'll pass the tissues real quick.
Week.
Hold on. There you go, Curtis.
So, and this is kind of frustrating, to be honest, because Disney, like Nintendo, is one of those companies that you grew up with, right? And you have this childhood like fondness about that company. And there are like IPs that they're just known for, right? And then they've also got other new stuff, like Disney a bit more so than Nintendo these days, like still pumping out really like new things consistently. But it's they're two very different companies also, while still being pretty similar. But there's something about Disney, especially for me, like more so than any other company or anything else out there. Like Disney is my livelihood in some ways. It's something that like I can look forward to each year, knowing that there are new Disney things happening, and more often than not, those Disney things are going to be incredible. Especially Disney animation the past few years. Like the movies they've been putting out are some of my favorite movies of the past few years, consistently. From Frozen to Big Hero 6, Zootopia.
Inside Out was one of your favorites, I thought.
Inside Out, Pixar is also like in that mix too. Yeah. They consistently deliver on the things that they do, and so, and then there are sometimes like they'll do things that make you really frustrated, sort of like Nintendo. Like they do just really things that might make business sense, but they're also just really frustrating. Yeah. Specifically, one thing that has happened recently, I have a big dream of mine. It's been going to Disney World, Disneyland. Either one doesn't really matter. I just want to go there one day, right, to experience it. And there's a recent story about this Guardians of the Galaxy replacing Tower of Terror, and like, I would maybe understand the business reason why you would maybe do that, but at the same time, that just really sucks. Yeah. Especially for someone like me who has never been. Like, what if like these old like attractions or rides that I would love to experience, maybe I just never get to experience them. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Disney shut down Disney Infinity this week. They closed Avalanche, not to be confused with the Just Cause Avalanche, but the Avalanche that was working on Disney Infinity, and that has been working on Disney Infinity for the past 3 to 4 years now, and have done other games within Disney for some time. So they are completely shuttering the whole initiative. There are some figures for the upcoming Alice in Wonderland movie coming out, and then there is a playset for Finding Dory that is coming out next month. So that'll be the final release. That means that the Peter Pan figure that was originally announced like last year is not coming out. The figure that they were going to make for the fan vote, so they had a fan vote last year, and the winners were actually like, I believe it was Darkwing Duck and Mabel from Gravity Falls were like the two just overwhelming winners of that poll. And they were basically planning on making figures for the winners of that community vote. That's not happening. Yesterday, there was a news story that came out about plans they had for 4.0, which would be next year. So they were taking a year off and putting out like some expansions to 3.0, and then next year would be the return. It sounded like they had some really, really cool plans for 4.0. Or it wouldn't. They said they wasn't going to be called 4.0. But they had one of the biggest complaints was that you couldn't intermingle all the characters together. They had to be confined to their playsets, or you'd be in the toy box. So I guess the next version of the game was going to have like a big story mode that would allow you to mix all the different franchises, which has been a thing that people have wanted ever since the first game came out. Yeah. But this is so it's a bummer, right? Because Disney Infinity, if you were into it, you were likely super into it. Yeah. It was something that it was a big investment for one. I mean, money-wise, it was a massive investment. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wasting money. Like I'm staring at a lot of figures right now that I have. I don't feel like I've wasted money. They're really nice figurines. I actually would have been kind of cool if they would have kept making the figurines even without the game. Although it sounds like the game isn't the reason why they're shuttering it. But it's strange to me. It feels like Disney, when it comes to video games, are really, really quick to just throw in the towel. Yeah. Because this is not the first time they have done this. Yeah. this week was basically, okay, we're shuttering Disney Infinity, and we're getting out of making our own console games. We're just going to license out our properties to other developers, which we've seen them doing with Star Wars specifically.
Yeah.
And that could lead to some cool things. Like, the fact that we don't get as many Disney games, like, on, like, Disney properties, like, we're getting Star Wars games, cool. But, man, there are so many Disney properties, specifically Disney, that we could be getting games for from, like, if they, like, got back with, like, Capcom or something. Like, you know, like, we used to get these, like, Mickey Mouse games and all these really great games.
Lion King.
Aladdin, you know, like, yeah, right. And, like, the fact that we don't have as many of those, like, it seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
But this is not the first time they've done this. If you remember, a few years back, when they had, I think it was BlackRock Studios, they made Split Second.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember
that game, yeah.
And that game was a really, really great arcade racing game.
Yep.
It came out at a really poor time. Came out at a really bad time. Did not do well. And it was amongst many other things, like what Disney does, apparently with video games, because, again, the second time they've done this is, like, when they have a bad year on the game, on, like, the console gaming front, they just wrap it up. Yeah. They're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
That's it. And, like, I thought someone had, like, a tweet this week that I thought was really apt for the situation. I don't remember specifically what it was, but it's the kind of thing of, like it's kind of crazy that you have one bad year and that's it. Because, like, Disney Infinity, so we have 3 Toys to Life, you know, games, or at least 2, I guess 2 now.
Yep.
And Disney Infinity, from everything we'd heard, like, was the best-selling one. Big surprise. And so they have 1 year where their profits are down.
Yep.
And that's it. They're wrapping it up. And so the bummer to me, more so than just closing Disney Infinity, a game that has, like, despite the investment, has, like, just brought me a lot of joy. 'Cause it's Disney, right? Like, it's that childhood wonder, and they have perfectly encapsulated that into a game. There is Disney Infinity had its issues, but there was, you know, pardon the pun here, but, like, there was literally an infinite amount of possibilities that game could have gone in the future. Right? Like, 3.0 felt like it was the moment where things were starting to click and come together for that game and that developer. And you could just begin to imagine, like, oh my god, like, 3 years from now, what this game could be. There was nothing like it. Even though they're, like, even in the Toys to Life genre, there was nothing like this game. And the things that they were doing, there was, like, obviously, like, you have games where you can create your own levels and stuff, and, like, so there are similarities there, but having the Disney name and having these characters and being able to do the things that you could do within the game, this was so unique, and there was so much potential. And beyond just it being a bummer that it's not going to be around anymore, I think the biggest crime is the fact that they are so willing to just instantly back away from it.
Yeah.
Because this isn't just like, yeah, we're going to make this game, we'll see how well it does. Like, this was an initiative. This was a new branch of the company that could have evolved into something really big. And especially when you think about Disney and, like, merchandising, like, it's insane to think that they're so willing to pull the plug on, like, a major merchandising initiative.
Yeah.
This was shocking. I was stunned when I saw this. Like, more so than most any other news. Because, like, the industry is brutal. We see developers close all the time. We see games get canceled all the time. And it's usually for the same reasons. But this specific game being canceled in the way that it was, especially, like, after, like, there was, like, 3 weeks ago, there was an interview with, like, a guy, like, one of the head guys at Disney, talking about how successful Disney Infinity is.
Yeah, I was hearing about that. Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
It's insane. I could go on forever, but it is insane, and we're here to pour one out for Disney Infinity. Gone way too soon.
Yeah.
Way too soon.
I just wonder.
I'm at this crossroads, Colin, and I'll let you. Go
ahead.
I'll finish real quick and then let you say what you're gonna say. I'm at this crossroads right now, where I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Do I want to take this opportunity to seek out deals, because I imagine there's gonna be a lot of sales over the next month or so,
yeah,
and try to finish the collection, or do I want to just not even get close to trying to track down everything?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna get the Finding Dory playset no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I'm super excited for that. Gonna get it no matter what. I'll probably finally get around to picking up the Marvel Battlegrounds thing, which is kind of like a Power Stone Smash Brothers mode. But other than those two, like those two, I'm definitely want to get. But I'm trying to decide if there's like, if I should even consider trying to wrap up the rest, or I don't know. I'm still just in shock.
Yep.
But go ahead.
It's just, when I first saw the news, I thought it was like a joke article, like, you know, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I saw that, like, the news was real, my first thought was, I guess we're never gonna get a John Vignacchi Disney Infinity character. I got really sad because that man
the biggest bummer
knows
is,
how to
like,
get excited about something, and I really respect that.
He's great.
I think
he
he's
is
awesome.
so great.
Yes, I think he's
I
awesome.
could listen to him talk about anything for hours.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And like it was so clear. Like that's the thing. Like, you know, like I said, Disney Infinity had its issues. There were definitely problems with that game. All three versions of it, and like you could tell just by listening to the developers like how much they cared about this game and what they were doing. And like I think it's so much easier to get attached to a game or any kind of product like when you could tell that the person making it like legitimately cares.
Yep.
And it has their heart in it, and they're not just like there just to pump out something because it's the job that they're doing. But then like you think about, I heard someone else bring this up, it's like you have your collection sitting there and like you're gonna have Mickey and Donald and you're never gonna have Goofy.
Yeah.
Like there's all these characters. Like there was, the bummer is the potential that is being lost here.
Yeah.
While at the same time you've got like, I don't know. It seems insane to me that they would so easily just give up on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It just feels so weird that they would just pull the plug. So it just feels like it's so early, like it's like way too soon.
It's like Disney is just so brutal, especially when it comes to console video games. Like if it's their own thing and they're not licensed, like because if they license it out, it's like whatever, they're just picking up the paycheck. But like when they're actually making it themselves as like they got first party developers for them, like there was that risk. And like there was a number, it was like 120 some million that they lost. That's not a small amount of money.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe to Disney it's actually not that much, but like that is a good chunk of money. And it sounds like it's mostly the figures. Like it sounds like they just made too many figures during the 2.0 year. And that was the thing that ended up costing them.
Yeah.
But it just seems for a company like Disney that is so like, I can't believe that they don't know how to do like they do merchandising. Probably one of the biggest like influxes of profit for them is probably from merchandising, from like t-shirts,
absolutely.
book bags, toys, you name it, right? Like plates, cups, napkins, I don't like whatever, like bedspreads,
t-shirts.
You could find literally anything that you can imagine. There's probably a Disney version out there.
Yeah.
And so like to think that the fall of Disney Infinity begins and ends with the merchandise, like the toy line aspect of it, blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because this is the company that like probably knows more about that part than anyone else.
Yeah.
In the world, maybe.
Yeah.
And for that to be the thing that puts them under, or like for that to be the thing that's the reason why they're pulling the plug, blows my mind.
Yep.
But at any rate, I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah.
I've been holding that in for like 3 days now.
Yep.
What a bummer.
Will you move on?
Now, see, here's the problem.
Will you move on
Colin,
to something like
transition to the end of this episode.
Or
the problem
Lego
is,
Dimensions?
what if they license all these characters out to like Lego Dimensions? And so I don't know. Hopefully I don't find myself getting pulled into Lego Dimensions or anything. But at any rate, I think that's it. I don't have anything else to bring up. Do you have anything else you wanted to very quickly bring up before we close this
Did you mention something you were going to bring up? There was something I thought you told me you were going to bring up.
Oh, you're right.
Okay.
There is one thing.
All right.
So as our closer, and I would like to hear from people listening as well, Collin, I'm going to send you an image.
Okay.
In this image, there are 3 things in the image. I want to know what your favorite thing is. And then once you see this, we'll expand upon what this thing, what I'm sending you.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh man.
What's your favorite?
I like from first glance.
So before you say it, we should say, this week the 3 starters for Pokemon Sun and Moon were revealed.
Oh my goodness.
Specifically, we have Rowlet, which is a grass flying owl Pokemon.
Yeah, so I figured that was.
We have Litten.
We have Knuckles / Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh man. So Litten, and then
with an Eggman mustache.
We have Poplio.
Okay.
I'm just curious what your favorite one is. I don't even know if you're a big Pokemon person.
I liked Pokemon back in the early days, and after it got past...
Right.
Usually what I say is after it got past 151, I kind of lost interest.
Okay.
I like the little walrus thing on the right.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But I probably got to go... The seal, but I probably got to go with the grass owl. The owl on the left.
Dude, Rowlet, I think is his name.
Yes.
That owl is legit.
I want a plushie of that. I don't even know what it is, and I want a plushie.
Me too. Someone's already made them. The fan art out there is crazy. Apparently, people hate Poplio. Apparently, like that is the one of the 3 that people are just hating on constantly. But that owl Pokemon is probably one of my favorite starters since Piplup, which of course is the best Pokemon in existence.
I don't even know who that is.
Piplup is a penguin water Pokemon. It's one of the starters.
Of course.
So of course,
the only
that owl Pokemon though.
I only know
pretty great.
I only know Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Pikachu. That's all I can really remember.
Okay, so I think we're both pro owl, team owl on this one. Team
hashtag
Rowlet.
Team Rowlet.
Hashtag, I think it's Rowlet. Yeah, he's so great. So I'm sure all our PlayStation listeners and PSN fans out there, what's your favorite of the 3 starting Pokemon? Do you also hate Poplio like the rest of the internet? Let us know. How do you feel about Disney Infinity shutting down? How do you feel about any of the news stories that we talked about this week? Let us know in the comments below on the YouTube video, in the post on the website, or email us at podcast@psnstores.com. Collin, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at BossmanCCrowder.
And they can find me on Twitter at PSPenguin. Or PSPenguin. Whichever you prefer.
Or you can follow follow the site also at psnstores.com.
You can also do that too. That's going to do it for us. We had reviews this week for Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, Day of the Tentacle Remastered also.
Yep.
I think we got a couple other reviews coming up. Hopefully King's Quest Chapter 3 in the next week or so. Mm-hmm. But that's going to do it for us today. This is Collin and Curtis in the morning. We are out. Owlet. Rowlet. We are Rowlet.
Rowlet. What?